day again, class. So we're going to have now the solving of your quadratic equation by completing the square. So in completing the square, so here are the knowledge that you have to have before we proceed with the lesson. So you have to know how to find the third term of your given quadratic equation or a perfect square trinomial. So you have to find the third term to make the expression a perfect square trinomial. Then after that, you have to know how to factor a square of binomial. So you have to know how to get the factor of a given perfect square trinomial to make it a square of your binomial. So let's have those exercises. So you have x squared plus 12x. So to find the third term, you have to divide the middle term by 2. So the middle term here is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. Then 6 squared is 36. So that's why we have x squared plus 12x plus 36. And to get the square binomial, just get the square root of both the first term and the last term. And the sign depends on the sign of the middle term. So the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 36 is 6. The sign of the middle term is positive. Okay, second one, 14 divided by 2 is 7. 7 times 7 is 49. So if we're going to get the square binomial, that is y plus 7 squared. Next, we have 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So we have y squared minus 10y plus 25. And the square binomial is y minus 5 squared. Then, we have x plus 5 squared and then x plus 5 over 2. Next, let's have the steps in solving your quadratic equation by completing the square. So first, write the given equation in ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Next, divide the whole equation by the value of a. Transpose the value of c to the right side. On the left side of the equation, we have to find the third term to make the left side a perfect square trinomial. And at the same time, you will also add the same value on the right side to balance the equation. Factor the left side into the square binomial and also simplify the right side. If you already have the square binomial and simplify the right side, we can now solve it by extracting the roots. And finally, you have to simplify the final answer. Let's have this one. So we have x squared plus 12x plus 32 equals 0. So in here, we have to skip step 1 since the given is already in standard form. And also skip step 2 since the value of a is already equal to 1. Proceed to step 3 by transposing 32 or the value of your c to the right side. So we have x squared plus 12x equals negative 32. So that's already number 3 because we are already on the step number 3. So after transposing negative 32, we have to find the third term to make x squared minus 12x a perfect square trinomial. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. And we are going to add that 36 on both sides. So we have x squared minus 12x plus 36 and then negative 32 plus 36. So again, how do we get that 36? So the middle term is 12 divided by 2 is 6. Then 6 times 6 is 36. And then that is to be added on both sides. If we already have the perfect square trinomial, we have to factor it into square of binomial. So the square root of our x squared is x and the square root of 36 is 6. The sign of the middle term is negative. So we're going to have x minus 6 squared and then negative 32 plus 36 is 4. Now we can solve this by extracting the roots. So we're going to get the square root of both sides. The square root of x minus 6 squared, just cancel our squared. And then the square root of 4 is positive and negative 2. Then transpose your 6, you have positive 2 plus 6 is 8. And your negative 2 plus 6 is positive 4. So your two roots for this example is positive 8 and positive 4. So again, the roots of x squared minus 12x plus 32 equals 0 is 8 and 4. Let's have the next example. So we have here 3x squared minus 7x equals negative 2. Let's make it first a standard form. So 3x squared minus 7x plus 2 equals 0. Let's divide it by the value of a. So the value of a here is 3. Dividing all by 3, we have, so 3 divided by 3, so that becomes x squared. So negative 7 over 3x because 7 is not divisible by 3. And then 2 over 3 equals 0. After that, we are going to transpose your c, which is 2 over 3. We're going to transpose, that becomes x squared minus 7x equal 7 over 3x equals negative 2 over 3. Then, we're going to find the third term. So, how did we find your 49 over 36? So, your middle term is 7 over 3. So, usually, we're going to divide it by 2. So, since it's a fraction, so that 7 over 3 over 2 is also the same as 7 over 3 times 1/2. So, if the given third term is, or second term is fraction, you multiply it by 1/2. So, that is 7 over 6. Multiply it by itself. 7 over 6 times 7 over 6 is 49 over 36. You have to add that on both sides. Then, we need to find our third term. Or we need to find the square of binomial. So, the square root of x squared is x. Go back first again. So, the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 49. So, let me show that first. So, to get the square of binomial, the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 49 is 7. The square root of 36 is 6. The sign of our middle term is negative. Now, we're going to get the LCT of our given fraction, which is 36. So, 36 divided by 3 is 12 times negative 2, that is negative 24. Then plus 36 divided by 36 is 1 times 49, that is 49. We're going to add negative 24 plus 49, that is 25 over 36. So our equation becomes x minus 7 over 6 squared equals 25 over 36. So let's proceed. So if that is our given now, so we have x minus 7 over 6 squared equals 25 over 36. Get the square root of both sides. So that becomes x minus 7 over 6. Square root of 25 over 36 is positive negative 5 over 6. So we need to transpose our 7 over 6 para makuha natin yung value of x. So that becomes 5 over 6, the positive, plus 7 over 6. So this is our first one. So 5 over 6 plus your 7 over 6. If we're going to transpose this, it becomes positive. And the next one is the negative. So, negative 5 over 6 plus 7 over 6. So, it's just the same. If we're going to transpose the negative, it becomes positive. The only separated one is yung positive 5 over 6 and then the negative 5 over 6. Then, after that, we're going to solve 5 plus 7 because they have the same denominator. 5 plus 7 is 12. And 12 divided by 6 is 2. The other side, we have negative 5 plus 7. That's positive 2 over 6. So, it's not divisible. You just get the lowest term of 2 over 6, which is 1 over 3. So, the solution for our given equation is 2 and 1/3. So, using our completing the square. So, what now if our given is not a perfect square? So, let's have another example. For this one, so we have x squared plus 10x minus 4 equals 0. So how are we going to get the, or how did we get this answer on the bottom? So x squared plus 10x equals 4. So we transpose, then we add, how did we get this 25? So 10 divided by 2 is 5. 5 times 5 is 25. So we add that on both sides. So plus 25 plus 25. And after that, we have the x squared plus 10x plus 25 and 4 plus 25 is 29. We get the square of your binomial. Square root of x squared is x. The square root of 25 is 5. And after that, we get the square root of both sides. Get the square root, get the square root. So So we eliminated the squared. We have x plus 5. Then, 29 is not a perfect square. So we have positive and negative square root of 29. And then after that, we just need to transpose your 5 to the other side. It becomes negative. So our final answer becomes x equals negative 5 plus and minus square root of 29. So that's the final answer already because 29 is not a perfect square. So that's how we're going to have the answer for number or for the ones with irrational roots or the ones which are not a perfect square. So that's how we're going to solve your quadratic equation by completing the square.